Hi folks, today I'm going to be starting a petit point kit, and this is one that I've made myself. So if you have purchased one of my kits and the instructions were too wordy and papery and stuff for you and you just want to watch a video, then this is that, and hopefully it'll explain everything that you need to be able to start the project on your own. Okay, let's go. Okie dokie. So here is one of my kits, and I'm just going to show you what's inside. Okay, so first of all, this is what it's going to look like when it's finished, although this is bigger than what the finished piece is going to be. The finished piece is going to be about 2 inches by 1.5 inches. All right, so we have 2 tapestry needles, size 26. And in here is the mat that's been pre-cut to the size to fit the petit point, and it fits a 5x7 frame. And we have here the working frame with the silk gauze already attached. That's sewn on there. And this frame is reusable. So when you're finished this project, you can use it again for other projects as long as they fit within that size. So you'll see there's tape along here to protect the edges of the gauze and also the threads. Tape side is the back side. That's because this side is flush with the frame, and as you're stitching, you're going to be putting the needle underneath the backs of the stitches. This side with the ram's head is the front side. So you want to see the ram's head when you're doing your work. Whenever I haven't done petit point for a while, I forget about this, and I have this be my front, and then I'm fighting over here trying to get my needle to go underneath the back sides, and it keeps hitting the edge of the frame. So don't do that. Alrighty, next thing we have is thread organizer, and it has all of the threads that I'm going to need with the symbols that are used on the chart, as well as the DMC colors. So if I have to go and buy some more thread, I can do that. But all of these kits I've done before myself, which is how I got the picture to go on the front. So you should have plenty of thread to finish one of the kits. So again, this is also a reusable thing. So if you do cross-stitch projects or more petit point projects, you can use this again. And it's pretty good. I've been using mine for a while now. I like it. Okay, so we have the instructions for the petit point itself, which are really just your typical how to do a petit point instructions. And we have the chart, which is specific to the kit. And then we have instructions for how to reuse the thread organizer as well as to reuse the frame. And they've got pretty clear step-by-step instructions. So I don't think there's any great mystery there. But if there's something I haven't explained, excuse me. If there's something I haven't explained and I should, please leave a comment and let me know. Alrighty, so that's that. Now, before you get going, you want to lay out your chart There's only 4 pages to it, so it's pretty easy to figure out how it's going to go. But you just want to confirm that it's how you expect it to be. So that looks reasonable. That looks like a mountain. That looks like the picture. So I'm pretty sure that's right. Also, the numbers go 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's 2 hints that this is correct. If you were to come up with something like this, you might think that doesn't look right. And you would be correct in thinking that. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's what's in the kits. But what I'm going to be doing today is not in a kit because it's one that I haven't done before. Alrighty, so the chart that I'm going to be working on is a new one that I've made, and I've not made a kit of it yet because I haven't done it myself yet. So I won't ask you guys to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. All right, so that looks reasonable. Very good. Put those guys away. And I'm gonna start with that page. And I've got all my threads here. This astute amongst you may notice that I have a few blank spaces, but that's just because I haven't done this chart before and I don't happen to have those threads yet. So I'll pop out to Michael's and get those, and then in the meantime I will just have blank spaces where those stitches go. Okie dokie. Now I've got my 5x magnifying prescription glasses and then my 2x magnifying cheaters so I can see. Alrighty, and for my gauze here I want to make sure that ram's head up, that's the working side, tape side down, that's the back side, so the gauze is flush so that when I go underneath threads I'm not running into the frame. Okie dokie. So I'm going to start in the top corner. When you do cross stitch, you find the middle, you start at the middle and you work your way out. For petit point, it's 40 stitches per inch, and oh, that's nightmare fuel trying to find the center of that and work. I mean, just no, please don't do that. Okay, so we're going to start at the top corner. Now the finished piece is going to be no more than 2 inches, so we should have plenty of room there to give ourselves a decent gap, maybe 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch. We don't want to be rammed up right against there, especially if I wasn't super accurate with making the gauze in there parallel. I did my best, but you know, you don't want to start right at the top and then end up having to go under the frame, because that's not good. So give yourself like a few rows in both directions there. Alrighty then. So top corner, this symbol is like a 6-pointed star, and it's kind of a dark beige color on the chart. So let's see if I can find that. There we go. All right. So here is our 6-pointed star. It's approximately the right color. So to remove a thread, you just kind of pull up on this little loop here and separate the strands and grab one of them And then hold the rest of the loop with your other hand and just kind of gently pull out that strand that you want. And then get everybody else to calm down and we're good. All right. Now sometimes you can find that there is a direction to the thread and you want to find which direction is smooth. Okay, so this one, this feels, I thought it felt rough and then it went smooth again. Okay, this one I can't feel a difference, so that's okay. But if you can feel a difference, you want to thread it so that when the needle is pulling the thread through, it's going in the smooth direction, because you don't want to pull up on those fibers. Alrighty then. So normally when you attach a thread, you start by going onto your previous stitches to hold in your tail, but we don't have any stitches to hold in a tail. So if you've been doing a lot of stitching, you might just hold on to that thread underneath with your fingers. But if you're a first timer or you don't trust that your fingers are going to cooperate, you can just kind of go up and down and up and down, and then your tail will be in position. If you want, you can even put a little bit of Scotch tape or painter's tape or something on there. I would not use masking tape or duct tape. Just something to kind of keep it still but not glorp up your gauze. All right. So having a look, I'm going to focus just on this 10 by 10 section here, because until I have some better landmarks along the way, I would be so dependent on counting, and I don't trust that I'm not going to make a mistake. Too many times I have thought I was doing it great, got a whole swatch done, and found out that I was off by one and had to rip out half of my work. And that sucks balls. So at first, anyway, I'm just going to focus on this 10 by 10 section. Now, as I go along, like this vein of white, I will do as one long section, because it doesn't make sense to just do like 2 stitches when there's some more right there. But for right now, just going to focus on this area here. Okay, so I'm going to just have a quick scout for these stars and just kind of plan my route. I'm probably going to also do this guy in with it. So, you know, I don't want to be doing this kind of stuff. I want to kind of make sense in my travel, if you know what I mean. Alrighty, now the other thing is my stitches are going to go on the diagonal like this. So either up in the top right and down in the bottom left, or up in the bottom left and down in the top right. And I'm going to be doing the continental stitch, which is one of your needle point stitches. It uses more thread than the tent stitch, but it doesn't distort the canvas as much. So the way to remember that is your stitches go opposite to the direction you're going in. Or another way to think of it is where you are going to, that's where your stitch starts. So if you're going to the right, your stitch starts from the right and then goes down to the left. If you're going to the left, your stitch starts from the left and goes up to the right. Alrighty then. So I'm going to put my first, oh, looks like from this distance, the cheaters are too much. Okay, so I'm going to put my first stitch in. And I want to make sure that I do not pull that thread all the way through. Also, as I'm going, I just want to think that I'm laying the stitches down. I'm not pulling tight at all. I just want there to be a consistent level of puffiness. This is not pulled tight enough. that's probably okay. Just a little bit of, nope, don't want to move anymore. So it can be difficult trying to find the right tension, but you'll get it as you go along. Okay, now I also want to make sure that I end up covering this tail as I work along, because ultimately I want this tail to go under about 1 centimeter of worked stitches so that I can trim it. So I'm going to try and be aware of where that tail is all the time. Okay, so we've got this guy, and then we're going to skip 2 columns and the next row down for this one. Okay, so 1 column, 2 column, next row down. And I'm going to push up this tail. Always double check that your counting is correct. 1 intersection, 2 intersection down. Okay, that looks right to me. Excuse me. All right, we're going to skip 1 and then do 2 to the right. Since I'm going to the right, I'm going to start the stitch to the right and then go down to the left. And I'm just going to nudge this tail over so it's going to get caught up in the back side of the stitches that I put in. Alrighty, that's 2. And then I'm going to go diagonal and do 3. Oops, you can't see that. On the diagonal down and do 3. And again, I'm going to the right, so I'm starting at the right. One, 2, I do like the sound of thread pulling. It's very comforting. 3. Okay, that's 3. All right, skip a row and then down underneath the middle one of the guy we just did. Now, because I'm going down, I'm going to start down and then go up. So I'm going to start at the bottom left and go to the top right. And I'm going to wiggle my tail, so to speak, so I can catch that. Bottom left, top right. Okay, now I'm actually going to take the tail out of things just so I can shuffle it along a little bit easier. All right, so that's this guy done. Now I'm going to go to the left, skipping 1 and then doing 1. Skipping 1 and then doing 1. I'm going to the left, so I start at the left. There we go. All right, we've got that guy done. Now we're going to go down to the diagonal on the right. Now, this one, we are going down, so you could start your stitch from the down and then go to the up, but we're also moving to the right. So you could start your stitch from the right and go down to the left. So in this kind of case, it's really just however you are inclined to go. I don't think there's really a right or a wrong in this instance. Some may disagree with me, and they would probably be correct. I can just tell you how I do it. And I might be doing it wrong. But that's okay. All right, so just gonna not pull this hard, but just make sure there's no extra loopies floating around back there. All right, so that's this guy done. Now we're going to be next column over, but skipping a row. So next column over, but skipping a row. And we're just going to double check our counting. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, up to the next one. Let's see if this counts correctly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the next one of the same color. So that counts out fine. And the one we just did is in between these two. So that's good. It's good to just check your landmarks every once in a while, and if you've made a mistake, catch it before you've gone too far. All right, so we've done this one, and now we have 3 more to do. You can see I've moved my tail to the side so that it will get encapsulated. Ooh, I'm using fancy words today. 2, going to the left, so I'm starting at the left. Are you tired of me saying that now? Three. And 4. All right. And now we're going to do skipping 3, and then 1, and then another beneath it. Skipping 3. So we're looking at intersections. We're counting intersections. 1, 2, 3. Now, just to confirm, this should be directly under our very first stitch, and there should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches between them. So let's see here. Just follow that thread down. Yep, they are in a row. That's good. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 between them. Excellent. Yay. It's always nice when we haven't messed up. All right, now I've got the tail going along more than a centimeter, so I'm not going to bother pulling the tail down around through any more work. I'm just going to leave that there. All right, so our second stitch. And then this little guy off to the angle. I know he's outside of the 10 by 10, but he's just so close. All right, and again, he's going down, so we can start down and go up, but he's also going to the right, so we could start from the right and then go to the left. So just, I don't think there's any hard and fast rule on which one of those you pick. But if there is, you know, please tell me. Now you may have noticed that the thread is kind of bunching up a little bit. So every once in a while, you want to just, can't really see, but I'm just holding the frame up so that the needle can untwist itself, and that straightens up the thread, because otherwise it's just going to want to get into knots and be difficult. Alrighty, so now this is why you want to have the back flush with the frame. Actually, first I'm going to trim this tail so you can not have too many things that you have to look at. Alrighty, that's that. Okay, so you want to go underneath the backs of the stitches that you've done. You may not be able to go under more than about 4 at a time because it may just be too tight for the needle to get under that many. And you don't want to distort anything. You want to keep your finger underneath here so you can feel if your needle pops out onto the proper side, which you don't want it to do. And also to help push the gauze up just a little bit so you can get the needle at those stitches without popping through gauze. Okay, that's probably good. All right, so now we clip that. These are good scissors for this because they have that little curve. You really don't want to accidentally cut your gauze. All right, so now we need to put this thread away because I will need it. Okay, so I was doing the 6-pointed star. So this is also just when you go to reuse your thread organizer, this is how you put the threads on here to be used. So you take your length of thread and you fold it in half. You push the loop down through the hole, grab the loop out the other side, and then grab the rest of the thread, pull it through the loop, and then pull it. And there it is, ready for the next time that you need to use it. All right, what's our next color? Let's do these little tulips. And I'm gonna just plan out my route. So I'm gonna start underneath our very first stitch, swing along the top, and go down and to here. Now I see there's a bunch along here. I'm not going to get distracted by those right now because then I'm going to end up doing this whole section and I don't want to get ahead of myself and then have to rip out things because I've made a mistake. So here we are, tulipy guy. All right, now this one I already had the thread short because whenever I do a project, if there's any leftover threads, I put those aside and then I use them. So that's why I've got like multiple threads that aren't in a bunch. They're like my leftovers. But don't worry, I won't make you eat my leftovers. You guys get brand new threads. Alrighty then. Now we're going to go underneath some, what do you call these things? What am I doing? Why am I here? Going underneath the stitches to keep the tail from popping through. Now it's really kind of tricksy. It might take a few times to get accustomed to doing this, when to pull and when not to pull. You might end up pulling your tail all the way through a few times. Don't worry about it. It happens to the best of us. Oh. There we go. Alrighty. Now, first time on this color, we're doing the little tulip guy, and it's going to be right underneath our very first stitch. So your first color that you do is sort of like the foundation for your whole project. If you mess that up, everything else is going to get messed up after. So you'll find that you're referring to the landmarks that you've already set with your first color as you're putting your next colors down. Alrighty, so my first stitch, I'm going to be going to the right. So I'm putting my first stitch in as a starting at the right and then going down to the left. Don't know if that makes sense. Now here, this very first one, I have to be really careful not to pull too much because I don't want to pop out. All right, there's our first stitch. And now we're going to leave a space from our very, very first stitch and then do, it looks like 7. All right, so space and then 1, 2, 7. And as we go, we can try and encapsulate any threads that we have back there as well. The more you can keep your backside tidy, the better you are. Just like the Charmin commercials. Okay, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so just to confirm we are in the correct place, our last stitch here, the 7th, should be 1 stitch above the middle of a group of 3. 1 stitch above the middle of a group of 3. Hey, awesome, that's correct. All right, so we just finished here. Now we're going to go a diagonal. This guy, whoop. We finished this, now we're going to go a diagonal right here. And because we're going down and to the left, we're going to start at the left and go up to the right. Alrighty. And now we're going to skip 2 and go down here, and it should be between 2. Now, we're only skipping 2 stitches, but I would say 2 or more. You should tunnel under previous stitches because you don't want to end up with big loopies back there. All right, in between these 2. All right, that's that. And then our last one here is going to be diagonal down from the end of a group of 4. So I'm going to go under all of these guys. And I'm going down so I can go from down to up, but I'm also going to the right, so I could go from right to left. So this is one of those cases where you can make a choice. All right, so let's just confirm that we are correct. So this guy is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let me count with this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stitches away from somebody beside it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yay. And this should be 2 stitches between this and the one above it. 1, 2. Yay. All right, so I think we are correct here. So I'm going to go underneath some threads. All right, and I'm just going to go up here. Whoops. Because why not? All right. Putting my needle somewhere where I won't lose it. And this goes back in tulip land, which I guess would be Holland. All right, there we go. So that's that little section done with the 6-pointed stars and the tulips right there. So next I'm going to choose one of these other colors and really just kind of focus on this area. Probably when I do either the blue suitcases or the blue, I guess, trilliums, I might expand it out to this area and just kind of slowly work my way along. But while I'm just doing here and there and that kind of stuff, I don't want to force it because I've ripped out too many hours of work just because I was in a rush. So don't want to do that. So anyway, that's how you do it, really. I don't really know what else to tell you, although I guess when you're starting your next page, again, start at, well, I guess you don't have to start at the top left, but definitely don't start over here because you'll have the boundaries of top and bottom set by having done the first page. So you can start up there or you can start down there. I wouldn't start in the middle here because, again, of that off by one and then you're screwed kind of problem. So pick an edge or a corner and do it that way. Just my recommendation. All right, so that's how you do the kit. And then when you're done, you'll just pull up on this tape, peel it back, clip the little sewing threads that are holding the silk in place, and you'll pull up gently on the silk, trim it, tape it to the underside of the mat, and then get yourself a 5x7 frame and you're good to go. So that's it, and thank you. I hope you have fun with it, and I appreciate you trying one of my kits. Thanks for watching my video, folks. I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you found it helpful. And if you have any feedback about the kits, please let me know. I would love to improve. And if there's anything that you didn't understand, any questions that you have, any suggestions, just leave a comment and let me know, and hope to make you happy. And I hope you enjoy doing petit point. So I have a number of kits available right now, and I'm just going to be cranking out more because turns out I really like doing it. So anyway, all the videos out there, I appreciate you watching mine. So thank you very much and happy crafting. Bye.